In this video we're back onto the test bench again because I've just got back from JP's and we've got now a good support bearing for our setup. But first, so this adapter here goes, this side goes to a ZF automatic transmission, Disco 1, Disco 2, and in it had a, well there's a place here for a sensor, and it had a little shield that come round here, cast into the thing. I was trying to look for another one for you to show you, but I couldn't find one. And it also had a diagonal shield here, really to stop the splashing. So anyway, I said to JP, I said, the original hole at the back was for an oil seal, which is the same size as the LT230. So I said, do you think we could get that chucked in your lathe? Just to say went past his lathe here. You know, it was about 5 millimeters past his lathe. Anyway, we got it in, and he turned it down last night, and then now this was round, he could clinch this in the vise, turn it round, open it up for the sides of the bearing, but the bearing was too thick to sit in this housing. It was only about this thick, this piece here. So this morning he went next door to his neighbours and got a piece of, it was triangular, just a piece of scrap, just got it out of the bin, turned it down so it was a press fit inside here and a press fit for the bearing. So what have we got, what else have we got? Well, on Mark, I can't remember what Mark we're up to now, I think it's Mark 7, but I think on Mark 5, we got a shaft here from a Puma, and we welded it to a flange for a prop shaft. So this is where the idea for the bearing came in, because the diameter here on where this usually fits on the oil seal of the LT230 fits kind of nice in there. Look at that. I'm over the moon. So now I can pull, and we worked out where the oil seal is going to be here. Brilliant. So even if we come back a little bit, it's still well supported, and we can get the bolts in there. We've got space to put the bolts in. Isn't that magic? It's kind of magic, isn't it? But Freddie Mercury has one. Anyway, so I'm going to get set up, get some oil in this transfer case here, and let's have it running. So it's working. Now, the gearbox you see at the moment is off the Spanish 110. I've just been running it up for a little while, getting the oil around it. I just want to tell you something about why some gearboxes make a lot of noise and some don't. This is a typical gear we find in Defenders. Look at the big chunky teeth on that. Alright, so bear that in mind, little big chunky things. But on some gearboxes, the LT230Q, they had a very fine tooth like this. This is much quieter, and these are found in the Puma. So the Puma boxes are nice ones to have. Downside is the gear ratios are only stuck at 1.2, so a little bit too much for your 300 TDIs. Now, let me tell you about this setup I've got. There is still a little bit of vibration, not much, but it's going. So next time I go up to Mark Bania to get a prop shaft balanced, I'll take this as well and get him to do this one too, because I moved the phasing of the shaft so they're parallel, because on a Defender, on a Discovery, they're like offset a little bit, and now it's put all the balance out. So I've been trying to rectify it by putting some hose clips on and using a beaker of water here, and look at the vibration, and it's vibrating more on the table because of the wood. It's giving it this, so I don't think we're getting anywhere, but it works, and it works really nice. So what I'm going to do is, I've got the old top-down thermal imaging camera out. I'm going to film this box, and I don't know if you can see there. You can see probably, well, wait a minute, I'll come back a bit because it has got quite a good range on it. You can see I've run this up to, what is it now? 40 degrees, around about 40 degrees. It's been running for about 3 hours. I know it sounds crazy, but I want to make sure it's not leaking. And the other thing, you probably can't observe, but I've got the breather has got a bung in it. Why? Because I'm trying to see if it's going to leak. Force leaks, if anything. Because, you know, what happens with hypoid EP90 type gear oil is it foams. And when it's hot, when it's working, it foams. That's an interesting thing. One other interesting thing I want to show you, because I'm full of interesting things today, is that about backlash and those gear teeth. I'll show you. So what we're going to do is start up the machine. Now, can you hear it clunky? It's not doing many RPM at the moment, but you can hear it's clonk. That's the gears chattering in the box. Watch what happens. Now this is in diff lock. Don't do this on your car. But you can hear it. So if I put a bit of load on here, can you hear it goes away? So when you're driving your car, you wouldn't hear that. It sounds bad, but it isn't really. It's just the teeth that just sort of think, oh, can't be bothered. Let's put some speed up. So there we go, we've got a bit of Kelter going on there. We can actually have a look at it. See what speed the box is doing. 1945 RPM. This is a 1.4 transfer case. $585 on the output. Well, you can see the bearing now is doing a great job. It's doing an absolutely fantastic job because the weight of here, when I'm looking at the shaft just here, you can see it's perfectly in line. It's the middle bit that's waving. It's like wavy-davy. Let's have a look. You can see where I put the hose clips here. Don't catch your sleeve in there, but you can see there's just a slight wobble. We'll get that sorted. But when I look at the glass here, you can see the rings of water vibrating. It's a good way to test if you've got vibration on a prop shaft. I know it sounds stupid, but it's true. Sometimes when you balance prop shafts and you don't know what the hell you're doing, well, you do know what you're doing, but you don't want to pay for it. You can jack your car up, hang a container of water on the nose of the diff and get the car running, and you'll see the water shake by moving hose clips around and putting more on, taking them off or whatever. When you get that flat, you know the prop shaft's nice flat. I think my man uses something a little bit more sophisticated. Anyway, I'm extremely happy with that. It's got up to temperature. I'll turn it on. It's got up to temperature fine. In fact, I'll turn it off completely. So it's got up to temperature fine. No problems there. Now, like I say, the box that was on it when we did the first bit of the video, that was clunky. That was a bit too clunky. So I suspect it's got these type of teeth in, and maybe it's a little bit out of line. I don't know. You see, the thing is with these gearboxes, in an ideal world, it would be nice to sort of move a gear up a little bit to put more contact in. So you've got your diff, your centre diff here with a gear on it, and you've got this gear here as your input and your output gear. Really, in the perfect world, you'd be able to push the intermediate shaft and get more tooth contact, get the teeth deeper into contact. We don't live in a perfect world, that's why we've got Land Rovers. So anyway, that's it. That's given me the ability to check the different. Listen, you can hear it. That is the gears for your centre differential, you know, between your high and your low gear, there's a little collar that slides between the two. That's that. You can't get away from that. You'll always get that. But that's why you'll get a bit of chattering. Anyway, so that's given us a chance on this little test bench to test if the diff lock's working, there's no leaks, there's no noise. The noise level was 74 decibels, which is acceptable. You know, it was acceptable. It wasn't screaming away, you know, like tight bearings. So by looking at it with the thermal imaging camera, we can see for bearings overheating, for example. It's very sensitive, is that camera. So what I'm going to do just before we go, I'll give you a bit more thermal pon and we'll have a look around this table. See you in the next video.